Alright, let's talk family dynamics. Ever felt like you were living in a sitcom written by a psychologist with a dark sense of humor? For the longest time, my dad was cast as the good cop, the calm, quiet one. Compared to my mom, picture a volcano in pearls, constantly erupting with criticism, manipulation, and the occasional Oscar-worthy guilt trip. Dad seemed like Switzerland. Neutral, peaceful, maybe a bit boring, but safe. Oh, how wrong I was. Turns out quiet doesn't always mean kind. Sometimes it's just strategically silent. Growing up, mom's moods were the weather forecast we all lived by. Sunny spells were rare. Mostly it was category 5 hurricanes over spilled milk or misplaced keys. She had this uncanny ability to make her asterisk feelings your asterisk emergency. Dad, he'd just disappear, not physically, usually. He'd just sort of fade into the background like beige camouflage. He wouldn't engage, wouldn't yell back, wouldn't take sides, or so I thought. His silence felt like a shield, a quiet refusal to participate in the chaos. I genuinely believed he was subtly protecting me and his reaction when Mom inevitably weaponized the information, pure, unadulterated surprise. Oh, did I say that? I didn't realize she'd take it that way. Or, I was just trying to help her understand your perspective. He'd play dumb, acting astonished that sharing my private feelings would result in, well, exactly what always happened. It was a masterclass in plausible deniability. He wasn't maliciously betraying me, see. He was just a bit clueless, a bit clumsy with sensitive info, except it happened every single time. The pattern was the most confusing part. He always believed her version of events. Even when he was physically present, even when he saw her scream, twist facts, or throw a tantrum with his own two eyes, somehow by the time the dust settled, her narrative became the official family history. If I tried to correct the record, point out the inconsistencies, I was the one misremembering. I was the one being difficult or overly sensitive. It was like watching a magic trick where reality itself got rearranged to fit her narrative, and Dad was the lawyer. I remember one specific incident. Mom went ballistic over something trivial. I think I used her special scissors. There was yelling, accusations, maybe even some dramatic weeping. Dad witnessed the whole thing, standing right there. Later that evening, he calmly explained to me why I shouldn't have used the scissors and how much it upset Mom, completely omitting her disproportionate reaction. It was surreal. He wasn't just staying quiet. He was actively participating in the gaslighting, smoothing over her behavior, and reinforcing the idea that my asterisk minor infraction caused her. He wasn't just believing her, he was asterisk defending asterisk her. If anyone outside the family ever hinted that Mom was difficult, Dad became her staunchest champion. She's just stressed, he'd say. She has a lot on her plate. She means well. He constructed this entire narrative around her that painted her as a misunderstood, sensitive soul burdened by the world, and, implicitly, by me. He polished her image constantly, buffing out the scratches and dents her behavior left behind. He wasn't just neutral, he was her PR manager, her defense attorney, and her cleanup crew, all rolled into one. It took years of these patterns repeating. The guilt trips, the invalidation, the betrayals of confidence, the rewriting of reality. Each incident on its own could almost be excused, a misunderstanding, a bad day, awkwardness. But stitched together, they formed a quilt of complicity. The quiet wasn't kindness, it was cowardice. The neutrality wasn't peace, it was strategic alignment. He wasn't a buffer protecting me from the blows. He was the padding ensuring her punches landed softly, on everyone but her. He absorbed the impact, redirected the blame, and kept the dysfunctional machine running. And then one day, probably after yet another incident where he accidentally threw me under the bus to appease Mom, it just clicked. Like finding the right key for a lock I didn't even know existed. All those little moments, all those excuses I made for him, they collapsed. I saw it clearly. He wasn't caught in the middle. He wasn't a passive bystander. He was an active participant. He was on her team. His silence wasn't just enabling her, it asterisk was his contribution to the dynamic. That's when the term flying monkey slammed into my brain. From the Wizard of Oz. The Wicked Witch didn't do all her dirty work herself, she sent her flying monkeys. They weren't necessarily evil themselves, just carrying out orders, doing the bidding of the narcissist. Dad wasn't the witch, but he was definitely airborne, swooping in to enforce her narrative, gather intel, and shut down dissent. He wasn't a dove of peace. He was a flying monkey disguised as a dove, camouflaged by his quiet demeanor He was the delivery system for her guilt trips. He was the enabler who allowed her behavior to continue unchecked. He was the cleanup crew who tidied up her emotional messes and rewrote history to maintain her facade. He made sure the focus stayed on my asterisk reactions, not her asterisk actions. He maintained the family's toxic equilibrium by ensuring I never rocked the boat too much, or if I did, that I felt terrible about it afterwards. His peacekeeping was actually about maintaining her comfort, her control, at my expense. Realizing this, it hurt a lot. It still hurts. It's a specific kind of grief, mourning the father I thought I had, the one I needed him to be, the quiet, kind protector I'd constructed in my head. Letting go of that illusion meant accepting that the safety I thought I felt in his presence was never real. It meant acknowledging that one of my parents was openly hostile and the other was covertly undermining me. It's a lonely, painful realization. There was no good cop after all. It's like finding out the referee in a game was secretly playing for the other team the whole time. All those calls that seemed slightly off, all those moments you felt unfairly penalized, suddenly they make a sickening kind of sense. You weren't just playing against your opponent, you were playing against the rules themselves, manipulated by someone you trusted to be impartial. The sense of betrayal runs deep because it's not just about the game. It's about the fundamental trust that was broken. I remember thinking his stillness was a superpower. While Mom ricocheted off the walls, Dad was the anchor. He'd offer these vague, non-committal responses. He'd say, or, well, these things happen. It was like listening to a magic 8-ball that only gave, reply hazy, try again answers. In the whirlwind of Mom's drama, his lack of reaction felt like stability. I clung to that perception because the alternative, that he saw everything and chose inaction, was too scary to consider back then. His silence wasn't peace. There was this deep-seated denial I had to overcome. He doesn't mean it. He's just trying to keep the peace. He's scared of her too. Maybe parts of that were true on some level, but intent doesn't negate impact. Whether he did it consciously, maliciously, or out of weakness doesn't change the fact that his actions consistently protected the abuser and harmed the victim. His asterisk reasons became less important than the asterisk results. And the result was that I felt alone, crazy, and responsible for the abuse I was enduring. His peace. Grieving this imaginary good dad is an ongoing process. Some days the sadness hits hard, other days it's a dull ache of disappointment. It's realizing you have to reparent yourself in ways you didn't even know you needed. You have to learn to validate your own feelings because he never did. You have to learn to set boundaries without expecting backup. You have to accept that the protection and unconditional support you craved from him were never on offer. It's like grieving someone who is still alive, but here's the unexpected upside. Naming it helped. Putting a label on it, enabler, flying monkey, covert accomplice, it took away some of its power. It shifted the narrative from what's wrong with me to, oh, this is a dynamic. This is a asterisk thing. It allowed me to stop expecting water from a dry well. I stopped confiding in him, stopped seeking his approval, stopped hoping he'd finally see the light and stand up for me. Understanding the role he played, even though it hurt, it meant I could start building my own asterisk sense of safety and validation, instead of outsourcing it to someone who was fundamentally incapable of providing it. It meant I could begin to trust my own perceptions of reality, even when he tried to undermine them. It didn't change him, but it changed me. It changed how I interacted with him, how I protected myself, and how I interpreted his silences and his carefully chosen words. The peace he offered was counterfeit. Recognizing that allowed me to seek authentic. Dealing with him now requires careful navigation. It means keeping conversations superficial. It means not getting drawn into discussions about Mom. It means recognizing the old patterns when they pop up, the subtle guilt trip, the minimizing comment, the defense of her behavior, and choosing not to engage or internalize it. It's like having a weather app for his behavior. I can see the storm coming and take shelter, rather than standing out in the rain hoping he'll offer me a real umbrella this time. The expectation is gone, replaced by... It's also strangely clarifying for other relationships. Recognizing these dynamics at home made me hyper-aware of enabling or passive-aggressive behavior elsewhere. It fine-tuned my this feels familiar radar. Understanding the quiet enabler archetype helped me spot it faster in friendships or work situations, allowing me to protect my energy and sanity much more effectively. It's a painful lesson, but the wisdom gained is invaluable. You learn to spot the difference between genuine kindness and Does it mean I cut him off completely? For me, not entirely, but the relationship is profoundly different. It's managed, contained. There are boundaries he probably doesn't even realize exist, designed purely for my self-preservation. The warmth I once projected onto him is gone, replaced by a sort of cautious, detached observation. It's sad, but it's safer. The grief is real, but the clarity is liberating. I stopped waiting for a hero who was never going. It's crucial to understand that the enabler is just as vital to the narcissistic dynamic as the narcissist themselves. They create the normal environment where the abuse can flourish. They gaslight the victim into questioning their reality. They provide the narcissist with information and validation. They discourage the victim from seeking help or setting boundaries. Without the enabler, the narcissist's power is significantly diminished. Recognizing the enabler's role is key to dismantle. Healing from this isn't about blaming him forever. It's about understanding the mechanics of the situation so you can disengage from the harmful parts. It's about recalibrating your expectations based on observed reality, not wishful thinking. It's about acknowledging the hurt without letting it define your whole life. It's about finding chosen family and supportive friends who do offer genuine kindness and validation, proving that healthy relationships are possible, even if your family of origin couldn't provide. The peace that comes from no longer expecting support from someone who consistently undermines you is profound. It's a quiet, internal peace, not the fragile, tense silence he offered. It's the peace of knowing you can trust yourself, your feelings, and your boundaries, regardless of whether others approve or understand. It's the peace of breaking a generational cycle, even if only within your own experience. It's the peace of finally seeing clearly, even if the view is painful at first. The dove was a monkey, and knowing that. The first cracks in my dad the peacemaker theory started appearing when I tried, bless my optimistic heart, to set boundaries with mom. Picture this, me, young adult Anna, calmly explaining that, no, I couldn't drop everything for her non-emergency emergency. Cue the maternal meltdown, and just when I thought I might hold my ground, Dad would swoop in, not with support for me, oh no. He'd hit me with the classic guilt trip, delivered with that signature disappointed sigh. It was like he had a PhD in weaponizing. It's a weird club to be in. My seemingly nice parent was actually working for the dark side club. It messes with your head because the betrayal feels so subtle, so hidden behind a mask of plausible deniability or even helplessness. You spend years defending them, making excuses, only to realize you were defending one of your captors. It's a specific kind of mind-bending discovery that leaves you feeling both foolish for not seeing it sooner and furious that it happened at all. But you're definitely not alone. So yeah, that's how I realized my dad wasn't the gentle peacemaker but the quiet enforcer. He wasn't a bystander, he was part of the architecture of the dysfunction. Naming it understanding the flying monkey dynamic didn't erase the past, but it gave me a map to navigate the present and protect my future. It's a heavy realization, but clarity, even painful clarity, is always better than confusion. It lets you finally stop playing a game that was rigged against you from the start. It makes you wonder how many other quiet ones are out there performing the same role. The parent, the sibling, the friend who never makes waves but always subtly steers things back towards the narcissist's favor. The ones who advise you to just apologize or let it go when you're the one being wronged. They seem harmless, even supportive, but their function is to maintain the toxic status quo. They are the peacekeepers of a rotten peace. Recognizing them is the first step towards learning to trust your gut, even when someone's actions seem benign on the surface but leave you feeling confused, guilty, or invalidated is key. Patterns don't lie. Consistent enabling asterisk is a choice. Consistent invalidation asterisk is a form of emotional abuse. Consistent betrayal of confidence asterisk is harmful. The quiet ones might not throw the punches, but they hold you down while the narcissist does. And sometimes that feels even worse because you expected them to be on you. So that's my story, a bit heavy maybe, but hopefully relatable for anyone else who's had that slow-dawning, stomach-dropping realization. It's painful, it's confusing, but understanding is power. Now I want to hear from you. Has anyone else experienced this, realizing that the calm or neutral parent wasn't neutral at all, but was actually working for the narcissist all along, that their silence wasn't peace but complicity? Share your stories in the comments. Let's talk about these quiet flying monkeys. His go-to line, "She's your mother," delivered with this weary tone like I was being deliberately difficult, as if her title automatically excused any behavior, or the slightly more insidious version, "You know how she gets." Yes, Dad, I did know how she got. That was precisely the problem. Why was my understanding of her volatility used as a reason for me to tolerate it? It was a subtle shift, framing her bad behavior as an immutable fact of nature, like gravity, and my reaction to. Then there was the ultimate deflection. Why do you always upset her like this? Always phrased as a question, but it wasn't really asking. It was an accusation disguised as concern. Notice the focus. My actions upsetting her Never once, not in all those years, did he turn it around. He never asked Mom why she was screaming. He never asked what she did to provoke my tears or frustration. The burden of emotional regulation, of keeping the peace, was always placed squarely on my shoulders. Remember how I said Mom was explosive? Yeah, that often involved yelling, full volume, sometimes inches from my face. When she'd finally storm off, leaving me shaking and teary, Dad's input wouldn't be, "Wow, that was uncalled for." Nope, it would be, "You really need to learn not to provoke her." Provoke her by existing, by breathing, by having an opinion she didn't like. It was victim blaming 101, delivered with the quiet authority I used to mistake for wisdom. He wasn't calming the storm, and my own emotions completely invalidated. If I dared to cry after one of Mom's tirades, Dad's immediate reaction wasn't comfort, it was control. "Lower your voice," he'd whisper urgently, even if I was barely sniffling. "Don't let her hear you, it'll just make things worse." So, my hurt, my pain, my completely justified reaction to being verbally attacked, that was inconvenient. It was noise that might disturb the queen. Her rage got a stage. My sadness got a silencer. The double standard was so blatant. Here's where it gets really insidious. Occasionally, desperate for an ally, I'd confide in him privately. I'd tell him something Mom said or did, something that hurt me, hoping for validation, maybe even intervention. I'd stress it was just between us. He'd nod sympathetically, maybe even make agreeing noises. "Oh dear," he might murmur, and for a fleeting moment I'd feel heard. I'd feel like maybe, just maybe, he understood. That fragile hope was, unfortunately, usually misplaced. The information pipeline had been established, because later, sometimes hours, sometimes days, he would accidentally mention my confidence to Mom. It was always framed innocently. "Oh, Anna was a bit upset earlier about insert confidential information here." He'd trail off as if just making conversation, or he'd subtly steer a conversation until she brought it up herself, then feign ignorance. The betrayal was nauseating. It felt like he was handing her ammunition, preloaded and ready to fire. And fire she would, using my own vulnerability